In quiet farmlands and dense woodlands, a silent transformation is taking place. Ordinary pigs, once domesticated and docile, have adapted into powerful wild survivors growing to astonishing sizes. Their rapid evolution challenges scientists and farmers alike, raising questions about how these animals became so resilient and so large. What forces in nature and human activity created these giants? And how do they continue to thrive where few species can? This is the story of the modern wild boar, an unexpected symbol of adaptation in a changing world. In many rural regions across the world, one animal has quietly become a force of nature that reshapes entire landscapes: the feral hog. Intelligent, adaptable, and surprisingly fast-growing, these animals have evolved from simple livestock escapees into one of the most successful invasive species on the planet. Their population has exploded so rapidly that some ecosystems are now struggling to keep up. But how can one wild boar grow to such enormous size, large enough to startle even experienced farmers and wildlife researchers? To answer that, we need to look at the complex mix of biology, environment, and human influence that created the modern super boar. A typical wild pig in its natural range is a compact, muscular creature weighing between 60 and 120 kilograms. Yet in several parts of the world, feral hogs have been discovered exceeding 250 kilograms, some even more. These giants don't just appear overnight. Their growth is the result of a perfect storm of genetics, abundant food, and the absence of natural predators. Over decades, selective survival has allowed only the strongest, most resilient individuals to thrive, passing down traits that favor size and aggression. Add access to high-calorie crops and warmer climates that extend feeding seasons, and you get an animal that never stops growing. It all began centuries ago, when domesticated pigs were introduced to regions far from their original habitats. Some escaped farms or were released intentionally for hunting purposes. Once free, they adapted quickly, using their sharp intelligence to survive in nearly any terrain: forests, swamps, grasslands, even semi-urban outskirts. Unlike many wild animals, they are opportunistic omnivores, consuming everything from roots and grains to insects, reptiles, and small mammals. That diet diversity gives them an enormous advantage, allowing their populations to boom even when conditions are harsh for other species. Scientists studying the spread of these hogs have identified several surprising behavioral patterns. They travel in groups known as sounders, often led by mature females. A single female can produce 2 litters per year, each with up to a dozen piglets. Within months, those piglets reach reproductive age, creating a feedback loop of exponential growth. In some areas, the number of hogs doubles every 6 to 8 months. This is why containment is so challenging. Removal efforts often fall behind their natural rate of reproduction. What's particularly fascinating is how their physical structure changes when they transition from domestic pigs to wild survivors. Their legs become leaner, their tusks lengthen, and their muscle density increases dramatically. Over generations, crossbreeding between escaped farm pigs and wild boars has produced hybrids that combine the rapid growth of domesticated breeds with the endurance of their wild ancestors. These hybrids are the ones responsible for the colossal sizes occasionally. documented by farmers and wildlife agencies. One of the most striking cases involved a boar that appeared near a series of agricultural fields on the edge of a woodland reserve. Locals reported unusually deep tracks and overturned soil stretching across several kilometers. The animal was estimated to weigh over 300 kilograms, nearly 3 times heavier than the average wild boar. Biologists later examined similar specimens in the area and discovered that access to high-protein livestock feed, corn, and root vegetables had accelerated their growth rate far beyond what was considered normal in the wild. Essentially, these boars were living on an endless buffet created by modern agriculture that their expansion has consequences beyond simple curiosity. A full-grown feral hog can uproot acres of farmland overnight. Their constant digging disrupts topsoil layers, damages irrigation systems, and introduces invasive plants that thrive in the disturbed ground. In wetland areas, they destroy nests of native birds and amphibians, throwing off delicate ecological balances. The economic cost is staggering. In some regions, agricultural losses attributed to feral hogs exceed hundreds of millions of dollars annually. And because these animals are nocturnal and elusive, tracking them is no small task. Modern research teams have turned to satellite mapping, thermal drones, and even AI-driven motion sensors to understand how these populations move. What they found is remarkable. Feral hogs can cover up to 20 kilometers in a single night, navigating complex terrain and even crossing rivers when necessary. Their intelligence allows them to quickly learn to avoid traps, human scent, and predictable patrol routes. Some studies suggest they possess advanced memory, recognizing danger zones and altering their feeding routes accordingly. As their populations continue to grow, size seems to be increasing as well. One factor often overlooked is hybrid vigor, a phenomenon where mixed genetic lines produce animals that are healthier and larger than either parent species. When domestic pigs interbreed with wild boars, their offspring often gain both the physical power of their wild lineage and the rapid weight gain of domesticated stock. Over successive generations, this combination can yield massive individuals capable of surviving extreme conditions. It's not evolution in the slow, ancient sense. It's evolution on fast forward, driven by human-created circumstances. But the question remains, how long does it actually take for one of these animals to reach its record-breaking size? Under ideal conditions, a feral hog can gain nearly half a kilogram per day during its first year. By year 2, its growth rate slows but doesn't stop entirely. Those with consistent access to nutrient-rich crops can continue gaining weight for several more years. Some documented specimens reach peak size between 5 and 7 years of age, a remarkably short time, given their lifespan can exceed a decade in the wild dog. To put their growth potential into perspective, consider this. A boar that feeds regularly on corn and soy fields consumes roughly 4,000 to 5,000 calories per day, similar to that of a small bear. Combined with a metabolism fine-tuned for efficiency, this energy intake rapidly converts to muscle and fat. That's why the largest boars ever recorded aren't necessarily from deep wilderness, but from areas bordering farmland, where easy meals are plentiful year-round, despite their reputation as destructive pests. Feral hogs also play unexpected ecological roles. Their digging aerates compacted soil, and their droppings distribute nutrients that encourage new plant growth. Some predators, like large cats or wild canines, rely on piglets as a seasonal food source. In balanced numbers, they could even contribute to healthy ecosystems. The problem arises when their population exceeds the natural carrying capacity of the land, transforming a once beneficial species into an uncontrollable threat. Wildlife management experts are exploring humane and technological solutions to this growing issue. Fertility control methods, selective relocation, and advanced monitoring are replacing older, less sustainable practices. The goal isn't eradication, but balance, keeping populations stable while minimizing environmental harm. Public education also plays a crucial role. Responsible waste disposal, secure fencing, and regulated feeding can significantly reduce the attractants that draw these animals close to human settlements. Understanding the biology behind their size helps us see why control is so difficult. Feral hogs are survivors. They adapt, learn, and reproduce at a pace that defies traditional wildlife models. Their story is a reminder that when humans alter landscapes, even unintentionally, we often set off a chain reaction that nature quickly takes advantage of. In this case, the result is an animal that has reclaimed dominance in environments designed for human use. The sight of a massive wild boar may seem extraordinary, but it's not a miracle in nature. It's a product of it. Every towering specimen is a reflection of how adaptable life can be when given the right combination of opportunity and challenge. Whether in remote forests or near cultivated land, these animals continue to push the boundaries of what we thought possible for their species. They are both a warning and a testament to the resilience of life. As dusk falls over farmlands and forests alike, the sound of movement under the trees serves as a reminder that this story is far from over. Each new generation grows faster, learns quicker, and survives longer. The world's largest wild boars didn't just appear. They were shaped by the world we built around them. And as scientists continue to study these remarkable creatures, one thing becomes clear. The line between domestic and wild has never been thinner. In the quiet spaces between field and forest, evolution is still very much alive, and it's walking on four hooves.